This is Replicant Fish. Welcome back. Glad you could join me again. So what do we have here? What do we have here? Men being men. Terrible men. Men are less likely to wear masks. Another sign that toxic masculinity kills. So obviously and clearly this is ridiculous, because according to some studies, men aren't wearing masks that much or less often than women, because apparently we find it's a weakness thing, it's a sign of weakness. We look weak walking around looking like very crap versions of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Interesting. But why immediately does it go to toxic masculinity? Why can't it just be down to decision? Why does it have to be toxic and just manly? Masculine. Yeah, it's stupid. From The Guardian by Arwa Madawi, if I've said that correctly. A number of men, including Trump, think masks make them look weak. A reminder of how damaging gender stereotypes are. This is ridiculous. Isaac Newton is widely considered to have had a very productive plague. During 2 years of social distancing, on a farm, he came up with important new mathematical insights and started formulating his theory of gravity. It's what real men do, not date single mothers, but let's carry on. My own quarantine experience has largely consisted of attempting to complete Netflix. However, last week I decided to channel Newton and conduct some scientific experiments of my own. She's getting deep. I stood in my local New York park counting passers-by to see if there were any gender differences in mask wearing. Wow, so she's on her CSI thing, okay? Please don't judge me. She's probably a stalker, but my apologies, we should not judge her. At least I didn't spend my spare time starting a podcast. Oh my god. Wow, that burns. My god. Damn. Wow. It's as if she took a future shot at any content creators that may make a video about this article. She's scary. Oh, I'm scared. Well, let's carry on. The results of my study. A sociological park-based meta-analysis of gendered mask habits, my god, due to be published in the Journal of Hours Thoughts. She really loves herself, doesn't she? She really does. Yeah, okay, let's carry on. We're unequivocal, of course they were. Men were just as likely to wear masks as women. In fact, coverings at least, we had achieved gender equality, so I guess she was happy with her experiment, okay? It is with a great deal of disappointment then that I must announce that my findings have been refuted by a rather more robust study. A new survey of 2,459 people living in the US has found that men are less likely to don face masks because they believe wearing one is shameful. Bastard, get out of here with your face masks. Bastards with face masks, my god. A sign of weakness and not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool, bro. Wearing a mask. What, you're afraid of getting sick, bro? Come on, you're wearing a mask. Come on, bro. You're a simp, bro. Take off your mask, bro. You're a simp. I'm joking, obviously. The survey conducted by American and British researchers also found that men are less likely to believe they'll be significantly impacted by the biohazard than women. I not only believe that, but there is so much evidence that that is the case. OnlyFans? You know, I keep saying that, but it paints its own picture. OnlyFans. Need I say more? Seriously. Which is ironic, because there is a huge amount of evidence showing that men are much more likely to die from the biohazard. Researchers are still trying to figure out whether this is due to biology or behavior. So we're either dying more because we're men or because we're just bastards. Interestingly, the study found gender differences in intentions to wear face mask covering basically disappeared in places where masks were made mandatory. In other words, men need to be forced, there we go again with that word, forced to wear masks more than women do. You're obliged to wear face coverings whenever you can't socially distance in New York, which explains why I didn't notice any gender differences in my own study. So I won't give up hope of a Nobel Prize for science quite yet. Wow, she really is serious. She's really grabbing for the balls of this. My god. But I will leave it there to make a few points. You know, what I find strange and is ridiculous is how they use anything, just anything, to label it as toxic masculinity. It's almost as if they're willing to reach for anything to say that as a man you're toxic because of this. And for a man like myself, it doesn't bother me, I'm not really bothered. But I wonder about young men growing up who see this constantly, this constant bombardment of, oh, you're doing this as a man, therefore you're toxic. You're displaying elements of toxic masculinity. Whereas some men are just simply just being men. It's not toxic, it's just natural male nature. We often do not talk about toxic femininity because then it's seen as shameful. We can't shame women by saying many women are toxic. Many women are actually toxic. Not saying all of them, no, I won't even say all of them, but quite a lot of them are. A lot of human beings are. Take the gender out of it, human beings are flipping narcissistic and toxic in themselves, regardless of if they're men or women. But far too often we have the power struggle, the battle of, let's say, the sexes, so we have to have a victim. We have to have a bad guy, which usually is the man, hence bad guy. We have to have a damsel who has to fight off and fend off this toxic masculinity so a male feminist can come and save her. I doubt it really. You know, as I've said before, briefly saying, I believe a male feminist is the ultimate nice guy to a feminist. As a male feminist, he would comply to everything she wants. And as many men know, sometimes women find it boring, some women, to have a man comply and bend to everything she wants. Sometimes some women do want, you know, a challenge. Some women do like drama. They like something thrilling. Hence, they would want a man that gives them some pushback. At least, not just, yes, my feminist queen, you're right. As men, we're all evil. Oh my God. My point in my fish waffling is, it's just nonsense. Young men would see these things and they would try to adjust who they are, even if they're actually decent, fine human beings in themselves. They will still just jump through hoops to be something else because of things like this. Now you see, some would not see this as damaging, they would think it's fine. And it's fine, men like myself don't care. But I would think of young men seeing this and thinking, you know what? I want to be as against this as possible, against this toxic masculinity, which you could understand anyone not wanting to be toxic. But my point is, when they wrap everything about being a man into being toxic, that's when it's damaging. That's when young men would stop being what they assume is toxic and be less masculine. In a sense, be more feminine because they think that's the way to be, because they think that's the good thing. You see, this is why I think it's damaging. Not for grown bastards like myself, I don't care. But I have a son, and there are other young men out there. There are young men that listen to me. There are young men that will see these things and think, I need to be less of this. Which in turn is making them not less toxic males, but less males in general, less manly, less masculine, and turn them into something soft and more feminine. You see, I understand her study and what she was doing. Yes, it's creative. Yes, it's creative. Not knocking what she's doing, that in itself is creative. But in the sense of saying this shows how men are displaying elements of being toxic it's ridiculous. Come on, it's ridiculous. The good thing about modern times is we live in a time where I believe the world will become more red-pilled naturally, simply because of what's going on. The large-scale events of what's going on. How the lockdown, the quarantine, the biohazard, how it's changed so many people, as well as the mass job loss. It's the relationship loss as well. The relationships being found, coming together, all the crisis love, all the quarantine and crisis babies being created. You see, my point to this is, I believe more and more men are seeing what's going on. And in a sense, it doesn't matter what I say or men like myself say. The point will prove itself. The world will show men exactly what's going on. You just have to pay attention, see it, understand it. And it's not to be horrible or cruel or just do anything stupid. It's just to be content in your life and your decisions. You see, when you can see how they program and how they push certain things, you then understand why it's hilarious. Why I find most of this crap funny. Because you can see the nonsense, you can pass out the facts and the things that are good and leave the crap behind. Leave the flipping crap behind. As a modern man, 2020 man, understand there are tons and tons of crap one should leave behind. One should ignore, or when forced to face it, forced to face it. Learn to laugh at it. See the humor and the nonsense in the crap. Do not be consumed by it and believe it to assume you're toxic. Oh, you're toxic. Simply because you're a man. Simply because you display elements of masculinity. Simply because we live in a world where they try to act as if that in itself is bad. That being a man is bad. Yeah. Gillette was once the best a man could get. It was once the best a man could get. Yeah. In other words, focus, observe, remember. The world is yours. Have a nice day.